Hello, everybody. Thank you all for attending today. To stay informed on our upcoming and recorded ChampionsWay webinars, please like our Facebook page at facebook.com/ChampionsWayFans. We have a special guest today. It's summertime and running children's classes can be a hot topic in martial arts, and we invited the best in the business, Master Melody Shuman, to talk about Instruction 101, game-based learning. Melody Shuman has over 25 years of experience in martial arts. Her accomplishments include a Forms World Champion title. She is the recognized creator of the Little Ninja program and the Skills Age-Specific programs, which are currently licensed to over 90 schools in 7 countries. Her expertise includes children's martial arts training and education. She has certified over 1,000 martial arts instructors in her instructor development course and has spoke at many major events worldwide. Melody's goal is to make children's martial arts the #1 activity that children participate in. At the end of the webinar, before the question and answers, we will announce the special treat we have for you all. With no further ado, let's begin Melody's webinar.
Okay, well, thank you guys for participating in this month's webinar sponsored by ChampionsWay. The topic for discussion is on game-based learning. Now, the reason why I picked game-based learning is because this is quickly becoming a common format that a lot of martial arts school owners are integrating into their classrooms, particularly with the children's martial arts market. Now, the problem is a lot of school owners are still on the fence about integrating games into their classrooms. They feel that games actually water down the overall value of the martial arts class, and I can understand why many martial arts instructors still feel that way. However, if you organize your games in a systematic process and an approach that integrates science and psychology, then game-based learning could actually be the very best thing you do for your children's martial arts classes. So what we're going to do today is we're going to discuss some of those benefits, and we're going to discuss some samples of games that work really well in classes, and also a step-by-step process on how to make them work in your school. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So let's first talk about some benefits to game-based learning, because if you're a martial arts instructor and you integrate games into your classrooms, if you don't understand the benefits, then it's going to be very hard for you to passionately follow this concept. At the same time, if you do understand the benefits to game-based learning, then you can turn around and translate these benefits to parents, to your prospects, and explain why this concept is so valuable to the overall martial arts instruction. So let's talk about it. So the first thing is children are more motivated to start a game. And one of the things I think it's really cool, they love kicking, they love punching, they love training. They look at martial artists as heroes in their eyes. So you can essentially take any type of activity and turn it into a game. And it's all in how you deliver it to the students. So for example, if I was just going to take a bunch of kids and say, all right, guys, we're going to do a bunch of push-ups and a bunch of sit-ups and a bunch of squat jumps and a bunch of leg raises, you're probably going to get a lot of moans and groans from your children. However, if you say, okay, guys, we're going to play a really cool game, and it's going to test your arm strength with push-ups, your leg strength with squat jumps, your ab strength with leg raises, and your heart strength with jumping jacks, and if you guys beat me in this game, I'll do 20 push-ups. Then all of a sudden, you got the kids super motivated. They're ready to play this game. So again, it's all in your delivery. Another benefit to game-based learning is children absolutely focus more during games than any other form of learning. You guys know this. We see children playing all the time. If it's a game, they're going to be excited about it. And when it comes to martial arts training, one of the #1 challenges that martial arts instructors come across is, how do I keep my students focused during class? So if you take any type of activity and turn it into a game, you're automatically going to increase the student's focus. The next benefit to game-based learning is games help children behave better because they're more inclined to follow the rules of the game versus just following rules in general. So if you are having challenges with children behaving in class, you can take a simple activity, turn it into a game, and you're going to notice the overall behavior of your children increase. This is very, very important because the goal of martial arts training is to help students become better versions of themselves. In order for students to become better versions of themselves, they have to try. So when you incorporate games into your class, you're going to notice them trying harder, putting more effort into the activity or the task at hand. And then, of course, the final benefit for game-based learning, and it's probably not the final benefit, but these are just the main ones that I'm covering today, are games are easier to tailor to age-specific training versus just doing simple martial arts drills that you cover day in and day out in a traditional martial arts classroom. So again, thinking about it, if you think about game-based learning and the benefits, and you want to turn around and translate these benefits to parents, things that you're going to say, if parents are saying, well, why are my kids just playing games in class? You could say, well, for number one, children were motivated to start a game. Number three, students behave. Number four, students are definitely putting forth more effort. And then, of course, number five, I can really target their stage of development when I'm playing particular activities that are appropriate for their stage of development. So again, understanding these particular benefits is so valuable, not just because you'll support it 100% and you'll understand this is why I'm doing games in class, but again, translating those benefits to the parents when you're able to turn around and say, listen, parents, this is why we're doing the games today, because your children are more motivated, they're more focused, they're behaving better, they're putting forth more effort. What parent is not going to embrace that concept? So now let's talk about the science behind game-based learning. See, when people think of games in general, or let's just say instructors of the past, when we talk about playing games in class, they think, I'm watering down my children's martial arts classes. Automatically, they think less value. They think McDojo. They think just trying to earn more income. You're selling out. All those types of excuses that you hear a lot of instructors say, mainly because they're uneducated on the benefits and the science and psychology behind the actual game-based learning. As I mentioned at the beginning, that children are more focused when playing games. This is not just limited to actual children. Games are actually beneficial to adults as well. Adults love playing games. I know I love to play games. Particularly, I like to play a lot of games on my iPad. Who didn't like Candy Crush or Diamond Dash and those types of things? But my favorite game is an activity that I participate in that's actually become a multi-million-dollar enterprise worldwide. And it's all based on improving your brain speed. And this particular program or company is called Luminosity. So it's a multi-million-dollar company, and it's a platform all based on game activities. So let's go ahead and talk about the science behind that. The first thing is Luminosity, just like regular games that you play in your class, if you do them right, will start to improve what's called working memory. It's actually a book that I just read, and it's called Smarter. And I can't think of the author right now, but if you email me, I'll go ahead and give you the author's name. They did an entire case study on game-based learning and found that if you use the right games or the right activities to help people learn or help get people to participate in, it's going to improve what's called working memory. So in the children's martial arts classroom, what happens is if you add a proper amount of game-based learning activities, they're behaving, they're focusing, and they're putting forth a lot of effort to the task at hand. What they're actually doing is they're opening up their brain. It's like an exercise for your brain. Like when you do warm-ups, you're warming up your muscles so that you can actually now improve your muscle abilities. The same concept when you start playing game-based activities in your class, children start to pay more attention, their brain opens up more, and when they're focused to the task at hand and they're not thinking about anything else except for the task at hand, this starts to engage what's called working memory. So now the brain all of a sudden starts to focus on what you're actually doing. And when you start to integrate working memory into every single one of your classes, that in turn builds what's called fluid intelligence. Now, fluid intelligence means that the more you integrate working memory in a classroom, they're focused, they're trying hard, their brain opens up, now they're starting to practice all these activities, which is building working memory. They're being stored in more places within the brain, and that's, once again, what's building what's called fluid intelligence. Now, fluid intelligence is the ability to think faster, to retain more information, to come to better decisions in a faster pace. So when you're looking at game-based learning, you're not just looking at a time filler where you're just playing a couple of games in class to keep the kids busy. You're actually talking about improving a student's ability to learn and grow. What parent does not want to have their children able to retain more information, able to retain it faster, able to come to conclusions or better conclusions quicker? So these game-based learning concepts are something that it's cutting edge. Most consider games as a way to teach people how to become better versions of themselves. So once again, the science and psychology behind game-based learning is once you integrate specific games that are targeted towards a specific topic, you start to engage the student's attention. You start to open up their brain. This is called working memory. Once their working memory starts to perform for a certain period of time, their brain starts to work faster. They start to learn things quicker. They start to retain more information. And that is what actually develops what's called fluid intelligence. All really cool stuff. So hopefully you're listening in on this right now, and I've convinced you. I've shown you the benefits to game-based learning, and I've shown you the science and psychology as to why those benefits are important. Let's go ahead and let's talk about creating game-based learning drills. I'm going to take you step by step through the process. Okay? So step one is games need to be balanced. Anticipate that it's going to engage working memory and develop fluid intelligence. So the game needs to be balanced, and what this means is that it can't be too hard, but it also can't be too easy. It needs to be right at that edge. Now, let me give you a couple of examples. So what I did is when I started creating our game-based learning activities, I said, let me start to take the skills that students are building in each particular stage of their development. And then once I identify those skills, then it's going to be really, really simple to create games around those actual skills. So for 3 and 4-year-olds, they're learning just very early fundamental skills. And what I mean by early is these are the very first things that children build. And those early skills are, and you can see them on the screen, kicking, punching, blocking, as they relate to martial arts, of course, crawling, hopping, rolling, running, and catching. It has a lot to do with martial arts. Because if you think about it, if you've ever tried to throw a ball at a 3 or 4-year-old, most of the time they catch it with their face before they catch it with their hands. And the reason why is because they don't understand spatial awareness, and they don't have very good timing with their hand-eye coordination. And if you think about elements that are important for martial artists to have, it is spatial awareness and hand-eye coordination. So we took each one of these skills, and we built games around each one of these skills. So we have a library of kicking drills, punching drills, blocking drills, crawling drills. When I'm talking about crawling, I'm talking about bear crawling, where they're crawling up and down the mat without their hands or their knees or their elbows touching the ground, crawling over objects, bear crawling in and out of objects, bear crawling to different rings, not just bear crawling, but also army crawling to build their upper body strength, even drills like, even skills like rolling. It's not just rolling their body forward, backwards, and sideways. On rolling day, when we're doing rolling game-based activities, we're even doing things like rolling a ball down the mat, rolling it backwards, rolling a ball in and out of objects, rolling a ball to hit another object that is several distances away so that they can still develop, as I mentioned with catching, that hand-eye coordination and that really good spatial awareness. So it's really simple to create games that are not too easy, not too hard, once you understand what particular skills they're developing for their particular age. So 3 and 4-year-olds, these are the samples. 5 and 6-year-olds now, once you get to 5 years old, this is when you're getting close to, or you probably are entering kindergarten, and also your first graders. Once you enter kindergarten, you're now starting to develop what's called basic fundamental skills. These are really just simple things. They've already got their early fundamental skills developed. Now they're going into basic skill development. So those skills are focus, because for the first time they're able to pay attention a little bit more. Teamwork, this is the first time that they're really understanding how to relate with other people. Control, now that they have really good core muscles, this is where they're starting to develop control of their body. Memory, now that they have 80% of their vocabulary, they're able to retain a significant amount more information than 3 and 4-year-olds. Obviously balance, because their leg strength is there. Discipline now is a basic skill that they're learning because they're understanding right from wrong. Fitness becomes a skill that they're building now that they've gotten the early fundamental leg strength, upper body strength, and core strength. And then, of course, coordination. Now that they understand their left from their right, now they're starting to build more structured coordination. So once again, the first concept to developing game-based learning activities in your class is to identify the categories that are appropriate for their age group. So these are the 8 categories for 5 and 6-year-olds. Let me go ahead and take you to the next age group, and that is your 7 to 9-year-olds. So these are your 2nd, 3rd, and 4th graders. Once you get into the 2nd grade, you're defining just skills that I just kind of pulled out of space and said, all right, I think I want to teach 7-year-olds agility. This is child psychologists, occupational therapists, and even sports coaches and athletes and totally other industries that are saying these are the core things that 7 to 9-year-olds are building just in general. So when you're building game-based activities for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th graders, these are the types of activities, or these are the type of activities that you want to integrate into your game-based learning. Agility drills, games that build technique, games that develop their courage, like courage to hit, like breaking boards, courage to get hit, like doing self-defense, even courage to lead each other, do activities. Flexibility, obviously, now that they're understanding how to stretch their muscles appropriately, now they can really expand on that flexibility. Intensity, at this age, now they're understanding hard and soft. Scale of 1 to 10, you can start at 1 being really sloppy, count your way up, and they're now at that stage of development where they can increase their power and increase their level of intensity at each level, all the way up to a scale of 1 to 10. Perseverance, now they're at a very good emotional stage of development now where they can push themselves beyond their comfort zone. Speed, obviously, 7 to 9-year-olds now learning speed. And what I mean by speed is I mean explosive speed, which is non-stop, constant, explosive movement. Technical speed, which is doing things really fast without looking sloppy. And then even reactive speed, which is quickly being able to come to the proper conclusion as quickly as possible. So lots of self-defense activities that can build their reactive speed. And then, of course, concentration. You know, obviously, a basic skill with a 5 and 6-year-old, with the kindergarten and 1st graders, they're learning how to remember things, but if there's distractions going on, they're not going to be able to concentrate at the task in hand. But once they get to like 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade, now they're starting to actually concentrate on the task in hand despite different distractions that are going on. So when you're doing game-based activities, once again, for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th graders, or as I say, 7 to 9-year-olds, you want to integrate games that target these particular skills. And then, of course, the final stage, which is called the extreme stage. So now, once you get to 10 years old, which is about 5th grade and higher, now you're at a level where your early fundamental skills are established, your basic fundamental skills are established, even your core fundamental skills are already established. The next step is, let's take my skills and abilities to an extreme level. Dexterity. To give you an example, we have an activity called Forms in a Box, where we'll do a little square box, and we'll have them just step out into, I'm primarily in Taekwondo, so we'd have them step out into a front stance and throw a front punch. And then they would step back and then step out with their right leg into a front stance and throw a right punch, going back and forth. And while they're doing that, they're working on proper execution and timing of their wrist motion, and also timing on how they land their punch while they land their stances. And this improves their overall dexterity. Other skills that they're developing that are extreme are reaction, versatility, which is our hidden agenda for teaching forms. So instead of saying, okay, today, guys, we're going to be working on your forms, we say, today what we're going to do is improve your versatility, which is the ability to do a variety of different things in a variety of different patterns. If I'm going to relate being a versatile martial artist to cars, an SUV would have versatility, because an SUV can drive on the road, it can drive through snow, it can drive through water, it can drive over rocks. It's a very versatile vehicle. Being a good martial artist, you want to have versatility as well. You want to be able to punch and kick in a variety of different directions, and Forms helps you do that. So building games all around improving your versatility is very appropriate for 10 and up. Momentum, obviously, this is where we throw in our jump kick games. Precision day is where we do a lot of board-breaking games and activities to help them improve their precision. Instinct day is where we do a lot of sparring games, because sparring isn't just about kicking and punching each other in the head or in the body. It's about anticipating what your opponent's going to do before they do it, and being able to throw a counterattack or react before they can fully execute their movement. So on Instinct Day, that's where we're doing a lot of really fun sparring games. Strength day, obviously, fitness and strength are two different things. Fitness is the ability to train your muscles, and strength is the ability to grow your muscles. And then, of course, vision day. On vision day with our 10 and up, when we're doing vision games, these are character-based games because once you get to the 5th grade, now you're starting to see the bigger picture of your existence in life and the footmarks that you're leaving. So during Vision Day, we do all kinds of character-based activities and character-based lessons to help them become a better person. So those are the first steps. So the first step, once again, is making sure that your games are not too easy, not too hard. They're right on that ledge. So all of the skills that I just shared with you, those are going to be your focal points. So the next step is the game should include measurable solutions that achieve specific learning objectives. So I'm going to give you an example of a game-based learning activity for each one of those age groups that we just covered. So let's give you an example for our 3 and 4-year-olds. So we have one game, we call it drill game, same concept, and it's called Around the World. And if you see in this picture, we have 2 students that are hopping on the right-hand side, that's Amelia, must try and catch student B, which is the boy on the left side, that is Everett. So the goal is to increase the students' hopping skills. So instead of just laying rings on the ground and having them just hop in rings, that can kind of get a little bit boring. It doesn't necessarily initiate what's called working memory because they're just hopping in rings. But if we now challenge them, we make it a game and we say, okay, Amelia, you're going to start in the purple ring, and Everett, you're going to start in the black ring. Amelia, your job is to hop with both feet in each ring and try to catch Everett. Everett, your goal is to hop with both feet in each ring and try to hop quickly so that Amelia can't catch you before you get back to the orange ring. So what we're doing here is now Amelia and Everett are focused on keeping both feet in their ring, hopping from ring to ring while improving their hopping speed. So what's happening is their spatial awareness is becoming a lot better. Their lower muscles are becoming a lot better because they're hopping, and also their confidence because now they have a little bit of pressure on themselves to hop fast. So this is establishing what's called working memory in their game-based learning class. So we do 2 of these types of drills. Their working memory is initiated, and then we actually go into the curriculum testing requirement for hopping. That's where they start to build what's called that fluid intelligence. So when parents say, well, how are you going to make my child smarter, or how are you going to help my child improve grades by playing these types of games, we can spit it out by saying, this game right here is challenging them to focus on keeping their feet together, focus on not hopping from ring to ring, developing their spatial awareness, but also challenging themselves to hop fast, which is engaging their brain, which then helps open up their ability to retain the information, think quickly, respond quickly. So lots of great information that you can be turning around and sharing to your parents from this actual webinar. Let's go on to another example, okay? So let's talk about 5 and 6-year-olds. This is your kindergarten and first graders. So we have a game called Blindfold Challenge. So the object is the instructor will call out random left and right moves, and if the student gets 5 in a row correct, he wins a point for his team. Now, what we do with our 5 and 6-year-olds is sometimes we'll have them compete against each team. So obviously, whichever team has the most points is the winner. But we always like to challenge our students even more by really boosting their desire to win. So we'll do a challenge, for example, and say, for every team that gets 5 points during this game, I will do 5 push-ups. They're way more intrinsically motivated to want to do very well because they like to see us do push-ups all the time, us as instructors. So, for example, in this particular picture, we're calling out random left and right movements, such as left punch, right side kick, left high block, right low block, right round kick. And we'll call it a variety of different moves, and if they get 5 in a row correct, like I said, they get a point for their team. So what this is doing is they're focusing on their left and right, their blindfolds. They really have to tap into their brain, and this is helping them build their coordination skills. So again, just taking a simple left and right martial arts movements and turning it into a game helps them, as you can see, they're more motivated to start this game. They're going to be better behaved. They're going to be put forth more effort. And they're going to focus more. So lots of great value to turning this into a game. Let's go ahead and talk about another example. So for our 7 to 9-year-olds, so again, this is your 2nd, 3rd, and 4th graders. We have a game called the Round Kick Challenge. So in this picture, you'll see Riley. He has his hand on one of the Wave Master cushions, and he's holding his round kick out head level. So the objective here is the student that can hold their round kick head level the longest wins a point for their team. So same concept. We'll either that day we'll say, whoever has the most points at the end is the winner. All of the teams collectively together can get 10 points, which means that or if whichever team collectively can get 10 points, they get to pick the challenge for the instructor. So again, we're turning this into a game. So we always like to have a challenge, a measurable goal that they want to attain, and then we also have a result from that actual challenge. But as you can see, the actual goal is to improve the students' flexibility skills, because this is appropriate for second, third, and fourth graders. Okay, and then one final example for 10 and up. So we have a game called Get Out. So as you can see here, we have 4 students, and they're each holding a slammer target. And then we have one student in the middle, and that's Casey. And the objective is the student must stay in the blue ring by using his skills to defend against 4 attackers. So these 4 attackers are going to try to push him out of the blue ring, and he's got to be able to react and respond, throw side kicks, throw elbows, or move out of the way, use quick footwork in order to stay in the ring. So really, this is a lot of fun. The students absolutely love this game, but really the goal is to improve the students' reaction skills. What would happen to you if you were, say, in a hallway at your school and you get ganged up by 4 bullies? How would you react? So this type of drill is helping them improve their reaction skills, and we're doing it in a game-based environment that makes it fun, but also, as you can see, this type of activity, what's it doing? Now, all of a sudden, he's processing his attackers. He's thinking about how he would react and how he would respond. His working memory is starting to get engaged, which again builds his fluid intelligence, his ability to come to conclusions at a fast pace as possible. So now once you get examples, the next step is same game, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. Because no matter how great your games are, it's still going to get boring and it's going to get very redundant. So your goal is you want to make sure that you have plenty of games that you can choose from when you're running these types of activities. So to give you an example, this is just one example. This is a screenshot of our Kickin Library, our kicking games. Cat, dog, dizzy kicks, don't drop the cone, don't drop the penny, elevator, feet in a line, helping each other, hurdle with jump kicks. So you want to, when you're doing these game-based activities, make sure that you have an arsenal that you can rotate through. So you really don't want to repeat the same game within 1 month's time. If you repeat the same game within 1 month's time, you start to slow down the students' working memory because they already are familiar with the game. They may not be processing it. They've already done the game before, therefore they're not processing it. It's the highest level. Therefore, their working memory isn't getting engaged as it should. So again, you want to make sure that you have that arsenal of activities that you can integrate into your school. Now, once you have an arsenal of game-based activities that you want to share with your students and play in each class, the next step is you want to make sure that you have a structured system for incorporating these game-based learning activities into your daily class planners. So here's how it works for us. So to give you an example, this is a standard class planner, and this is for our basic skills and above. Our 3- and 4-year-old class is only 30 minutes long, so that planner is a little bit different. But every single class planner that we have in our school follows this exact same structure. So we do 7 minutes of warm-up, which we have 4 different categories of warm-ups that we have. So each day we alternate between one of those 4 categories. Then we do our mat chat for 3 minutes, and that mat chat is going to be the focal point of what we're doing for that day. So to give you an example, if we're teaching in the basic skills class, which is our 5- and 6-year-olds, and the skill that we're working on that day is focus, during the mat chat we're saying, okay guys, today we're going to be working on focus. Now focus means to be paying attention to the task at hand, and if you have good focus, you are going to be smarter. And then of course we ask the class, who wants to be smarter? And of course they all raise their hand, and you say, okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do a couple of game-based drills to help you improve your focus. Then we'll test you for your skill stripe, and then we'll finish with a fun game at the end of class. So you'll see we'll do our warm-up for 7 minutes, and then we do our mat chat for 3 minutes. Then we go into our game-based learning activities for 15 minutes. Usually we can run 3 games, and we try to keep our games at 5 minutes or less, no matter what the age is, just because we like them to be short and sweet, not too long, not too hard. So 15 minutes of game-based learning activities. Then we go into our 15 minutes of curriculum training. And then we finish with a fun activity, which is more of a social building activity. And then, of course, we end class for 2 minutes where we do our announcements and everything like that. So as you can see, if you have a really good system where you can plug in those game-based learning activities, you're going to get the best results. I've tried several different class planner structures, and this one by far works the best. Students who follow this class planner with the 7 minutes of warm-up, then you do your mat chat talking about the goal you're going to do for the day, then you spend 15 minutes playing games. But what these games are doing is they're initiating your working memory. Once your working memory is initiated through these games and activities, then you can go into your curriculum training, which is where fluid intelligence. This is the perfect recipe for really maximizing your students' abilities to learn and grow. We get time and time again, we get feedback, not just from our parents, but we also get feedback from all of our martial arts school owners who are following our platform who say, my students are getting better faster. That's the best compliment that I love to hear is when other school owners and instructors say, my students are getting better faster through this game-based learning concept, through this actual planner. So with that said, again, many martial arts instructors, when they first think of game-based learning, they say they're going to water down their class. That's not what they want to do. They feel like they're becoming a McDojo. As you can see, based on all the benefits that I laid out for you, also based on the science and psychology that has proven why games actually work, and then this step-by-step process that I've shown you on how to integrate your classes, hopefully you are convinced that game-based learning can not only be one of the best things that you integrate into your school to help your students become better faster, but it's also going to improve your retention. It's also going to increase your enrollments because parents are going to start to become raving fans of your curriculum because it's like no other sports or activity out there. So your referrals are going to start to increase. Also, because your students are going to become better faster, that means that your program is going to have more value so you can actually increase your prices. So there's a lot of other benefits to game-based learning besides the actual benefits that the students gain in the martial arts class. So with that said, you may be sitting there thinking about some questions that you have regarding game-based learning, and I believe we're going to open it up here in 1 second and give you an opportunity to ask questions. Melody Shuman, S-H-U-M-A-N is how I spell my last name. So it's Melody Shuman at skillsconnect.com. Email me with your questions. I'll be more than happy to talk with you. If you want to get some more examples of game-based learning activities, I'll be more than happy to share those with you as well. Also, you can find me on Facebook. The best place to network with me, I believe I'm at 5,000 friends right now, so the best place to find me would be in my Skills fan page group. So if you go to facebook.com/groups, then / skills fan page, and make sure you spell skills with a Z, that's a great place to network and synergize and get a lot of information on game-based activities. Also, every Tuesday, I do what's called the Tuesday's Tip. So I share a report, a step-by-step report on all kinds of great ideas that you can integrate into your martial arts school that's just going to increase the overall value of your martial arts school. Now, also, if you want to meet in person, I am going to be speaking at the Super Show. So you can actually find me at the ChampionsWay booth on Tuesday, July 1st at the Maya Super Show. Now, I know the Super Show is a week long, but I believe Monday is more so for setup, and so that means I'll probably be in and out of the booth on Monday. But definitely Tuesday, if there's one day that you want to be able to come and grab me, come find me at the ChampionsWay booth on that Tuesday. And then, of course, I have a family event that I need to get to later in the week, so I'll be flying out on Wednesday. So once again, if you're going to be at the Super Show, come find me at the ChampionsWay booth. That's on Tuesday, July 1st. So before we open it up, we do have some great specials for you guys for participating in this month's this webinar, and it's a 24-hour special. But before we do that, let's see if we can open this up to questions. Bahid, if you can share with me if somebody has any questions regarding game-based learning, if they're able to do that.
For sure. Thank you, Master Melody. Before we go to a question and answer, if you are not working with Skills and Melody Shuman, you are missing it out. It's, if not the best, is one of the best programs that I've ever seen for children. Melody, we've been so honored to work with Melody for years, and she's a great person, a great friend, and a very knowledgeable person in the industry. I've witnessed that she helped many different martial art school owners to take the school to the next level by her programs. On the same note, as we promised in the invitation that we're going to have a special treat for everybody in this webinar, in order to help you guys to get on the program with Master Melody Shuman, if you are not a ChampionsWay client, if you decide to come on board with us this week, it depends on what level you join ChampionsWay. We are going to cover the charge of getting the manuals from Master Melody Shuman, or help you to get started with skills program, and we'll take care of the cost partially. If you are interested to learn more about that, please do not hesitate to send us an email at marketing@championsway.com, or give us a call at 1-877-774-5425. Also, Master Melody has a special promotion for all the people who's attending this webinar, that we are going to send a follow-up email right after the webinar, so you can take advantage of the special promotion that Master Melody is providing. So thanks again, Master Melody. We have a lot of questions. I'll pass the microphone to Moira to go over the questions. If we don't get a chance to answer all the questions, please email Master Melody, or you can email us, and we forward all the questions to Master Melody to answer all your questions. Thanks again.
Thank you, Vahid, and thank you, Melody, for such a wonderful presentation. So we'll start with the first question. With the different ages you have listed here, you must have separate classes for all of these ages. Since the different ages are working on certain skills, can you incorporate these into classes that may not have age-separate classes?
Yes, you can. You can always incorporate game-based learning into mixed age classes. However, you're not going to get the absolute maximum best results. So what I recommend is, if you're doing mixed age classes, then you would want to subdivide them within the class and do certain games that are appropriate for the younger kids in one particular group, and then take your other kids of the older age, put them in another group, and have them work on a game that's more appropriate for their age group. Because again, remember, game-based learning, it integrates science and psychology, and it generates such amazing results, but it has to function within what science and psychology recommends, and basically what humans are capable of doing. So if you think about it this way, it's very difficult to teach math if you have a classroom full of kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth graders. It's virtually impossible to teach math to all of those kids at the exact same time and have every single one of them walking away feeling like they learned something new in math. You may be able to do it a little bit here and there, but you're not going to be able to do it on a consistently measurable basis. That's why age-specific training is becoming one of the #1 trends in the martial arts industry, because martial arts school owners are starting to realize that, yes, children learn and grow based on stages of development, and therefore dividing them into classes according to age.
Okay, so for the next question, will we have a copy of the slideshow? We will be sending a recording of our webinar in a few days, and also stay tuned, because you will get an email right after this about our special promotion.
Yes, and if you want to email me, again, that email address I had, Melody, let me go back to it, Melody Shuman at skillsconnect.com. I'll email you the slideshow, so you can have that as well.
Great, next question. For the example of structure of the class, what age was that for?
That was for the ages 5 and up. So 5 and 6-year-old class, the 7 to 9-year-old class, and our 10 and up class.
Cool. What is an appropriate student to instructor ratio for 3 to 4-year-olds?
That's a great question. The 3 and 4-year-old instructor to student ratio, I like to keep it at 4 to 1. So 4 students to one instructor. And actually, Also, if you want to email me, again, melodyschuman@skillsconnect.com. I actually just published a report on that and on instructor-to-student ratios. And so if you want to email me and request a report for instructor-to-student ratios, I'll go ahead and send you that step-by-step report and some details on the best recommended instructor-to-student ratios.
Awesome. What is the best way to ask a seasoned instructor to begin using these concepts without them feeling like I'm criticizing their current classroom management?
That's another great question. Wow, I love these questions. Well, if you think about it, even a seasoned instructor has plenty of room for improvement and innovation. And if you think about relating an instructor who is not integrating game-based learning with, like, think about like an old school computer that only has like 2 gigs of memory speed. You know, they're operating at a very old school capacity. And no matter how much knowledge they have, they can only generate so many results based on that, you know, based on their ability to operate at that speed. So if you upgrade your computer, then obviously you can get a lot more things accomplished. And it's the same concept with teaching. So if you innovate your teaching approach, it's not that you were doing anything wrong, because nobody likes change. They say, well, what were you doing wrong that you have to change it? You want to say upgrade. You want to say innovate and embrace a little bit more than saying, look, we need to change your teaching style, or even we need to improve your teaching style. You really hit somebody's ego. I know somebody told me, well, you need to change your clothes, or you need to improve how you dress. You know, I would probably be a little offended. But if somebody said it's time to upgrade your wardrobe, or it's time to innovate your wardrobe, I would say, you know what, I think you're right. It's time to do some upgrading and time to do some innovating. It's much better to get somebody to embrace that and wrap their head around that.
Cool. Where do you get all the props and tools for the activities?
Another great question. There is an online company that is basically like a heaven for all kinds of great toys and tools. I get a lot of stuff from Century, of course, but when you're looking at the cones and hurdles and rings, all that stuff, it's called ssww.com. So it's S as in Sam, www.com. So I believe that stands for snsworldwide.com.
Okay, our next question is, what was the Facebook address again? Melody's Facebook address is on the screen right now, facebook.com/groups/skills fan page, and ChampionsWay is facebook.com/ChampionsWay fans.
Awesome.
Our next question is, how can we work with Master Melody?
Well, the best way to work with me is to email me privately, and then also find me on Facebook, and then we can start a networking relationship. Different ways that I can work with you. I'm always constantly doing webinars. I do a lot of traveling for certifications. I will be in Boston. I'll be at the Maya Super Show. And then, of course, if you want the full service concept, then that would be our Skills Connect company, and it's a full service licensing company. So if you email me or join our Facebook page, that's the best place to get started.
And we have some props for you, Melody. Comment, thanks, Melody. Great content and great delivery. Appreciate all the work you've done. On that note, we have only time for about 3 more questions. So the next one we'll take is, what are some great focus drills for 3- and 4-year-olds?
Melody@skillsconnect.com. I will send you a collection of all of my favorite games for each class. I believe there's 8 in each one of these best drills manuals. So I'd be more than happy to share those with you if you want to shoot me an email.
Do you have any examples for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu schools?
Yes, I do. We actually have a ground version of all of our curriculums. I believe Derek Breaux, Kabir Bath out of Canada, Sean Williams from 5-Star Martial Arts, they're all using a lot of our ground concepts. So once again, you can email me, melodyschuman@skillsconnect.com, and I'll send you some samples.
Okay, our last question. And please note, if you have any other questions, feel free to email us, marketing@championsway.com, or send Melody an email at melodyschuman@skillsconnect.com. So for our last question, do you have a timer to let your instructors know when to move on to the next segment of the class?
Yes, our instructors follow that platform that you actually saw. So they have 7 minutes to get through the warm-ups, 3 minutes to get through the mat chat, and then they have 15 minutes for those skill building drills with no more than 5 minutes per drill. So when we do our instructor certifications and also our curriculum certifications, which are done several times per year, that is where they actually do the training on how to manage those class planners. And then, of course, I also have my floor manager who's also monitoring our instructors during classes to make sure that they stay on time with each one of the drills. I can literally tell you what activity or what portion of the class my instructor will be on tomorrow, next week, next Tuesday at 4:15. So if you have an organized system in place, it's very easy for your instructors to follow versus just telling them just to wing it.
All right. Thank you so much, Melody. It was a great webinar. Again, if you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to email us at marketing@championsway.com or sending Melody an email at melodyschuman@skillsconnect.com. We will be sending information on our promotion. It is a limited time offer, so please keep an eye out for that and feel free to contact us about that as well. And of course, as always, we send a recording of our webinar to all of the registrants, so that will be coming the next couple days too. Thank you again for joining us today, and thank you again, Melody. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, thank you guys.